If someone has the same name as you and has already trademarked that name for their business, can this cause problems in your business? Let's talk to everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer, Tony, to find out more.
My name is Tony Iliakostas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School, and I have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that's dedicated to all things intellectual property.
Tony, we've been talking about how to register our business names for a trademark protection. We've been talking about whether or not we can register our own names as our business names. But what happens if somebody else already has that trademark to our name? Can they prevent us from using our own name?
This is very possible, and I think that there are certain circumstances where this type of activity is triggered. So first thing, I want to stand by what I've said in previous videos, which is that, or the previous video that's connected to this one, which is that the only way you could register a name in the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office is if either you yourself are the registrant or if you have legally authorized someone else to register the name on your behalf. That latter part is where this is exactly in that realm, and this is where it gets tricky. So if anybody is into wedding dresses or just wedding fashion, you may know of Haley. You may know we're tapping into a very specific market here. You may know of Haley Page, very well-known wedding designer. She partnered with JLM Couture at one point in the mid 2010s and had a very successful and thriving wedding dress line. That was her thing. She severed ties with JLM Couture in like the tail end of 2019, I think going into 2020. But that then commenced a massive legal battle that she had between herself and JLM Couture. Why? Because unbeknownst to Haley Page, part of her agreement with JLM Couture is that she surrendered all naming rights to her actual name, Haley Page, or any variant of her wedding dress line name, over to JLM Couture, so that even when the agreement severs, those rights, those trademark rights, vest still with JLM Couture. Those do not revert back to Haley Page. She had fought this through tons of litigation, appeal after appeal after appeal, fight after fight, negotiation after negotiation, ended up completely falling short, had to succumb to the will of JLM Couture and had to do a complete 180 and rebrand into something else. I actually forgot what the name was, but that just goes to show you how forgettable it is, because at least Haley Page is a memorable name in the wedding dress industry. So I think that this highlights a lot of important takeaways from something like this. One, read your contracts. I cannot stress it enough. Cam has talked about it. We've talked about it in tons of videos. You have to read your contracts. You yourself should read the contract, but also having a lawyer read your contract is important. We learned through the culmination of this massive fight between Haley Page and JLM Couture that never once did she read the contract that had those, that provision laid out. And better yet, she never even went to a lawyer to have them review it. So, and if she did, bad lawyering, because they missed a massive term that basically was catastrophic and led to the demise of her, career in some capacity.
Yeah.
So reading the contract is essential to something like this. If you're working with a brand where your name is implied and your trademark rights are implied, especially if it's connected to your name, that's where you want to know who's owning what. What am I exactly giving away? You need to understand and contemplate what rights are at play with any license or any sort of deal that you have with a brand, and you want to make sure that you're not compromising your rights. So that's the first step. The second step is maybe this would give you pause in terms of thinking of whether or not you want to surrender or even trademark your name rather as your business name. Sometimes it's the kind of thing where you're better off just coming up with a very different brand name that's specific to your business and using that as kind of like your brand identity, not keeping it specific to your name. Or you could still register your name as a trademark, but use it in commerce in some alternative way, but create maybe your business under a different name and use that as the catalyst. So in theory, I could register my name, Tony Iliakostas, as a trademark, but maybe I'm better off registering the trademark and just having it on deck. I'm using it in commerce in some capacity, but I thrive off of the IP Professor. I use that as my base, name for my business, and I register that as the trademark, and I live and die by the IP Professor name in every regard that I use in my business. So I would say that that's the second takeaway from a story like Haley Page, because essentially, I think this could have all been avoided if, she maybe came up with a different business name as opposed to calling it Haley Page. Maybe there could have been something different there. Although, you have people like Vera Wang, where that's her name and that's the product line, or Christian Dior, or, Louis Vuitton. Yeah, I could go on. But I would say the third takeaway here is that when you're working with any business, understanding what the give and take is going to be essential here. I'm sure that Haley Page, who is this no-name wedding designer, was happy to get attention from a massive wedding distributor. And I'm sure that the change was great. But again, understanding what rights are being exchanged is really, really paramount. And I think this gets to the policy core argument of the meeting of the minds, understanding what your relationship is with the brand, what the brand's relationship is with you, what you're giving up, what they're giving. That understanding the symbiotic relationship that will exist with that brand is going to be essential to the process. And I think that was a bit absent in the Haley Page case study. So all that to say, when you're working with any brand or any sort of corporate entity, don't be quick to work with them and just give away your trademark rights. Retain it. It's yours. Hold on to it. And if they fight on you, then you know what? Walk away, because maybe you weren't meant to do business with them in the first place to begin with.
So if we are going to be creating a business and we want to use our name, but somebody else already has that trademark, it might be wise for you to start thinking of other ways that you can be using a business name that does not necessarily involve your name, just so you don't deal with any legal issues with this. But of course, if you've got questions, ask your lawyer. Your lawyer is going to be able to help you navigate the world of figuring out what your business name should be, can be, and what legally you can do to protect what you've got going on inside of your business, name-wise and otherwise. And if you've got questions, go ahead and drop those down below, because Tony is coming back for upcoming episodes to help keep us legally protected in the entrepreneurial space. And we want to hear from you. What are your fears, your frustrations, your questions, your problems? Tony is here to help us solve them and navigate the world of the legal side of social media, of our entrepreneurial endeavors, and more. And as always, if you need immediate conversation with Tony, because we all do, Tony, where can everybody find you online?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor, and you can check out my entertainment law podcast called Unseen. New episodes drop every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Drop your questions on the legal side of entrepreneurship, because Tony is coming back for upcoming episodes every single week, and we want to make sure we're helping you stay legally protected in this space. And follow along, because every single day we're dropping brand new videos to help you navigate the world of your business, from building your online business to navigating the world of social media, learning how to create content faster, stronger, better, but with less time and stress input, and how to make your business more profitable. We're answering your questions, so we'll see you in the upcoming episodes.